"Mount up, folks," the trail boss called, passing near them. Cade gave the man a quick nod as he passed. Then he took charge. "I'm sorry to interrupt," he said, stepping forward with their horses. "We need to get going." Lynne and her father squeezed each other one last time before stepping apart. "I'll write to you as soon as I get to Denver City," Lynne said. "Sooner, I'll send updates at the forts that we pass." "And I'll write to you and send it by stagecoach so that my letter will be waiting for you at the other end." Lynne made a sound between a laugh and a sniffle. "If only you would send me by stagecoach as well." "Go with Mr. Lawson," Judge Tremaine said, "and stay safe." "I will. I love you." Cade could see Lynne wanted to say more, wanted to stay there and argue with her father or hug him a little longer, but the time had come. She squared her shoulders and stiffened her back as she turned away from her father and marched toward the wagon. It could be she was every bit as brave as her father had said. The judge lifted a hand to wipe his face, then stepped back through the crowd who had come to see their loved ones off. Ben resumed his seat driving the wagon and snapped the long whip over the backs of the oxen who would pull it from Independence to Denver City. Oxen weren't like horses. They responded to verbal commands and prods with a pole or whip, and in the din of dozens of wagons leaving, they were confused. Before they would move an inch, Cade had to hand the horses' leads over to Lynne so that he could jog to the front of the team and pull them to get the whole operation going. There was no set order to the wagons in their train, but the families and teams of miners and would-be entrepreneurs moved into position smoothly. Once the oxen were moving, Cade turned back to find Lynne halfway through mounting her horse. "Just a minute there," he called, striding back to her. "I was going to take her saddle off and tie her to the back of the wagon to walk." Lynne lowered her foot from the stirrup and gaped at him. "Why ever would you do a foolish thing like that?" Cade frowned. The last thing he needed was for his charge to go questioning him. "You don't want to tire her out." "Tire her out?" Lynne blinked at him. "Mr. Lawson, Clover is a horse. They were made for riding." "Miss Tremaine," he answered her stubborn for stubborn, "this is a trail. We'll be walking over 700 miles to Denver City, and it'll take 6 weeks if we're lucky and maybe 3 months if we're not. You don't want to wear that horse out before her time." Lynne sniffed and resumed her efforts to mount. "I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life." She pulled herself up with surprising ease and plunked into the side saddle. It was unusual to see a side saddle this far west, but not unheard of. Lynne sat on hers with perfect grace, like a lady. "You're free to walk if you want to spare your horse, Mr. Lawson." She nudged her horse forward, but didn't get far with the crush of wagons, people, and animals all trying to move in the same direction. Cade fetched his horse from where it had started to wander off and walked it up to Lynne's side. "Do you see any other women riding?" he asked, and before she could answer him, said, "No, you don't, because on the trail, women ride in the wagons." She sent him an arch look down her nose. "It looks to me as though most women do not ride in the wagons, they walk." Cade fought the urge to sigh aloud. She was only being contrary to hide her sadness, he told himself. It would pass. If he could just get through this journey, he would be back where he needed to be to build the rest of his life. "All right, then," he said. "Get down and walk like most women." "Ah, but you see, Mr. Lawson," she said with a smile, "I am not most women." She had that one damn right. Before he could argue with her, she tapped her horse's side. It responded quickly and pushed forward as Lynne steered it around the wagon and set off as though she hadn't a care in the world.